bit of a different style, like more kind of like straight up like 50 drone pushes and stuff like this, whereas soO is much more just, oh, I'm making mutas, and the game kind of, I mean, I feel like the game's kind of ended in that last series a lot because Stats was in very bad positions and sort of made some weird choices and stuff like that. So let's kick this off to the top left-hand side, our red Protoss player from Triumphant Zone Gaming. It is herO. So he's actually a teammate of Solar. They won the China Team Championship Season 1. If a star moves faster than the speed of light, you can't see it. Mind blown. You'd be able to see its trail though, right? You'd be able to see where it was. It'd just be... because, like, the light it emits at one location will eventually reach Earth. Right? Am I being crazy? Yeah, if space is expanding, there you go. If space is expanding faster than the speed of light, then the light will never reach Earth because it's trying to travel a distance which is constantly increasing faster than it can move. Speed of light's a crazy thing when you think about it. It's like when you're watching, like when we observe supernovas, these are like stars which actually blew up years and years and hundreds of years, thousands of years ago. It's just that the light is only just now reaching us and we're only just now able to observe it. It's pretty crazy, man. Astrophysics gets real... thinking about astrophysics, like studying astrophysics, it really gives you those what's the word for it? It's a very, I don't know what the word is, but it gives you those moments where you're like, what the fuck? That real moment of like insecurity because like you're just so insignificant to the larger scale of the universe. What's the word? I can't think of it. God, I can't think of it at all. But I get it a lot when we when you think about like astrophysics and stars and shit, because you're just like, wow, this shit's on such a huge scale, and we're just like some life form on a planet or something. God, I really can't think what it is. Anyways, 2 adepts here from soO, from herO, gonna set on the third hatchery of soO. Sentry is on the way up here from herO, so getting this out, and with the War Prism should be able to kill this Overlord. It should be used for high ground vision to begin with. He's going to go into a very fast Immortal here, so actually looks like herO just wants to open this series with a fast Immortal all in. Only running 2 gases, or 2 workers in each gas on the main base as well. Now he's killed this Overlord. Scouting the gases on the natural is going to be very difficult for soO, and so it's going to be a very difficult read for soO to figure out what exactly is going on. Two adepts moving in towards the third base. The Feeling is moving in, but Queen's actually pretty quick on top of the Prism, so the adepts can't stick around for long. Rotron drops down in the back of the natural, and yes, I think soO already just getting himself in a position to be a little bit cautious about this at the moment. 2 adepts will show up, and 1 drone already going down. Make that 2 as the War Prism gets out. Again, nice annoying play by herO. And actually herO does just add on the Forge, so he's looking for a little bit of a follow-up here. Into +1 in charge at least. What's up, Brakatac? Sorry, Brataktak. I feel like I said your name just the other day. Thank you so much for the 7-month free sub, and I also did the exact same thing. I'm just so excited for your name to be Brakatac or something like that. Thanks so much for the 7-month resubbers. This attack is still coming in from herO, but +1 charge behind it. I mean, there is a follow-up planned here. Existential crisis, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Defiant Dan. Anyways, Link's coming in from the right-hand side. As we're going to be seeing these units getting a little bit surrounded right away. War Prism with a little bit of micro. Ravages and so on. Very, very convincing hold here from soO. herO just has to back away, but the only thing he keeps alive is the 2 Immortals, so very good defense from soO here, as now we have the Queen popping up that ramp in towards the natural expansion. Flare on the way up here from soO. In the end, soO didn't commit across the map. I mean, I think he saw no third base, and he's like, okay, well, actually, if you don't have a third base, I don't really have much I can do here. If I brute force my way into a 2-base Protoss, doesn't really make sense. Better off adding a few drones and keeping these units alive. Preparing for the follow-up attack, which is pretty much inevitable if you have no third base. How on earth are you going to transition? So it is just this charge and the +1 building in towards a larger attack here for herO. But I feel like that's going to be tough to make work after the first attack from herO was so easily shut down by soO. I mean, very convincing defense to start things off. Chamber coming up here from soO as well, so we'll start to get some upgrades of his own. He's on the left, so he does have that roach speed. Or he should be able to get that roach speed. Obviously helps a little bit, but it's not going to be ready right away for this attack. I mean, charge is now done, so herO is pretty much set to go for this here. So +1 missiles, roach speed, getting ready to go. Queen's going to be pressing forwards. Actually get the Observer to the side. It's kind of a weird pick off the Observer, but I guess doesn't have too much of an effect here. A couple of spines on the way for soO wants to try and help get anything he can to defend. Those few force fields have been pretty good, really abusing that Evo Chamber. That Evo Chamber is in such an awful place. It's kind of just acting as a massive permanent force field, and of course, so easily picked off by herO as well. So soO's struggling a little bit here at the moment. More Lings coming in. Them spines finishing again, they'll help out a little bit, even if they just soak some shots from the Immortals. Gets a kill on one of the Immortals, and oh, the Corrosive Bowels make it a second. There's 2 Immortals down already, that's very painful as well. Another Corrosive Bowel. These units move back down the ramp. Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers coming through. The Zealots continue to back away. The Lings back around to this bottom side now. I think soO has kind of somewhat held this at this stage. It's not over yet, but he's made the first kind of wave of the defense, and I feel like that's often the hardest part. He's not fallen apart already, right? And that means that he's not kind of struggling too much on the unit count, and he's going to be getting towards a +1 missile attack upgrade as well. So things are getting better for soO as time passes by. He's also sitting on that very strong worker count in comparison to his opponent. So those 2 spines going to burrow up. Roaches and Ravagers here. Looking to try and spread out a little bit. +2 attack upgrade coming up on the Forge. So soO pressing out into the center of the map. The next is about halfway done. Yeah, I think herO's in a bit of a weird spot here, where transitioning out of this is going to become difficult. He starts up into +2 attack. Spire drops down from soO. I guess soO's drone count isn't amazing at the moment. He's also going to get a Baneling nest up as the Immortals are just going to go for the hatchery. Oh my god, is he going to get the third? Oh my god, no. And he loses an Immortal in the process. Another loss for herO here. Those units are so critical. Man, he has like 15 sentries as well. This is not a good army for later in the game. This is an army that wants to abuse the ability to kind of manipulate space now and to end this game on a lower number of units. Like, this is way too many sentries for a longer game, and I think that's why herO's coming back across the map already, because he's just like, yeah, actually, like, my army is not good if this game goes on for a long time. Like, sentries just don't deal any damage. Sure, you can hold the Prosurge at bay for a long time, but what does that matter if they're gonna have, you know, so much still when they eventually make it through? Spines on this low ground, so it's gonna be, again, I think, a very good fight for soO here. As Corrosive Bowels are pushing sentries back already. A few Roaches on the right are having no issues at all with those Zealots. And again, it's a lot of force fields, but only because there were so many sentries available, and Well, herO warps in a few more zealots to get this going. Corrosive Battle's coming down. That's a dead War Prism now as well. So the only way out for these units is going to be a recall. That's going to cost you a couple of units for free, basically. So he was just going to sit here and try and trade this out. But again, I think this overall has been a very convincing defense from soO. As he pushes those Immortals up to the high ground, he is going to be able to recall those out at least. So he gets 2 Immortals out of there, but obviously that's so many units lost. And as you see those, the rest of this moving through center of the map. And a few Ravagers coming over to the left-hand side are going to be dropping down some piles there, as we do see these Zealots as well from herO escaping up to the top. 2 more Archons being added into play, and soO pressing forwards. Corrosive Battles to take one of those Archons down to begin with, and I think it's just the beginning of the end here for herO. The +2 attack upgrade isn't going to do anything to save the day. Probes already pulling into this as well, which we kind of know how that's probably going to end. They pull back now, but there's still actually enough units to really defend. A few Zealots kind of running through. These Immortals are having to keep on microing Ravagers and Roaches back down this ramp. 2 more High Templar on the way up. Just going to finish morphing into an Archon now. +1 melee, Baneling speed. All continuing through here as the Mutas dive in towards the main, and they are going to go after that Archon. Archon gets pretty low there, and again, the rest of the Roach Ravager pushing up this ramp. Mortal has to lift up, try and get out. And we're going to be seeing this as pretty soO picks up game number 1 of this best of 5, but 2 of this best of 5. To the bottom right-hand side, our blue Protoss player. Down a map, we have got herO. Up against our red Zerg in the top left, soO from Chivo Esports. Alright, gas in the pool to start off with here as this probe is going to block. So you're not sending anything across the map to hatch block at all. So probe here from herO, just moving around a little bit. I'm going to see what's going on. Just one pool finishing up here from soO over in the main base. So again, gas in the pool to get started. That hatchery now on the way down. Getting this ready to go. Next is on the way up from herO as well. That's Cybercore. Also about to complete. That's the Ling Speed. Also on the way up. So Ling Speed coming through. In the game from this PvZ. Obviously soO will have a bit of a faster Ling Speed than usual because of the gas pool first, just because of that hatch block. Yeah, soO not sending any drones across the map to drone scout or to hatch block, which is something we saw him doing quite a bit during the Home Story Cup tournament. Well, he had a pretty good run of ZvPs. Lone Zergling running a probe down the left-hand side. Another Ling showing up, doing some damage as well. I see the Adept taking a few shots here. Queen coming up, and Adept able to deal a little bit of damage. Top side to Adept's trying to come in again, but they'll actually shade up into the world of the main. So here are really again pressing through for some damage in the early stages of this one. We've seen a couple of Lings running out. One of the Adepts will fall. Very good control on the drones to keep them away from this as possible. Good hatchery on the left, so Robo Facility starting up from herO in the main bait and the natural expansion, getting that ready to go. Resonating Glaives, Chrono boosting out of the Twilight Council as well. That's going to be shading out. La coming along here. Queen going to throw an inject through. A couple of extractors going to be popped down here from soO, so getting those ready to roll here on the natural. And there is a Rotron just behind this mineral line as well. Assimilators dropping in from herO on this natural expansion, so really just already teching up. The Resonating Glaives is obviously what changes things up a little bit now. So you have the Adept force coming across the map, so soO, how well can you defend against these Adepts? The Adepts then generally do lead into a big Immortal push as a follow-up. Adepts shading up there, the Zerglings hanging out, and it's going to be seeing the Queens coming over for the Zerglings as well, going to be able to pick their way through this Adept line. So Adepts are going to be picked off here. A lot of Adepts going down. Wow, that was actually a disaster for herO. soO absolutely just stomps this attack. Well, first wave of this very well defended by soO. Again, his defense seemingly on point so far today. No matter what you go for as herO, even this last Adept found and hunted down by the Zerglings. Now Warp Prism is Chrono boosting out of the Robo Facility. Another Sentry warping in as well, so this army gathering up together. Observer goes to keep track of that Overseer. 3 more gateways from herO in the main base, so getting those set up and ready to roll. A couple of Stalkers are picking their way through the Overseer as well. The Changeling will get picked off also. Hallucinated Phoenix on the way towards the upper left-hand side of the map, so let's head into the upper left as we can see these 3 roaches just popping out. Again, soO only on 41 drones, so a very low drone count even to be defending 45 probes, but you could definitely do with like 4 to 5 more workers, right? He seems to be committed, so it's going to go one or two ways. Either soO overruns and has a great time, or he just doesn't quite make something happen. Then his economy is pretty bad to follow through. This Immortal, by the way, is just chunking its way through Creep Tumors. That's actually insane. Why are Creep Tumors armored? It's like the most ridiculous thing ever. I never even noticed that Immortals can one-shot a Creep Tumor. I feel like usually you see 2 Immortals, and so they both shoot at the Creep Tumor at the same time. You're like, oh yeah. Man, just seeing one Immortal being creep on its own, it's like, that's actually crazy. Alright, well, the main army now coming across from herO, so this main attack is getting established. It's going to be seeing the units here from soO continue to gather together. More roaches on the way out. I mean, I do just feel like not having those drones a little bit earlier, those few extra workers, might really cost me. Here he goes. Adepts are shading through. The Adepts, they might want to just commit to that shade, and well, I kind of thought if he was going to go up to the main mineral line he would, but he then kind of turned around, so now the Roach is able to get some damage done. It still does pull soO's army apart. These Adepts should commit to the shade out of here, of course, otherwise they're just backed in a corner with Roaches. Another couple of good force fields so far, and herO taking a very good making a very good play of this at the moment. You see more Adepts warped in. Force fields coming across and cutting this army in half once again. Adept sentries doing some pretty good damage. Just the Immortals in the background though that really chunked their way through the Roaches, and it feels like soO's army is just starting to fall apart. Just doesn't seem to have enough here. herO found some very good engagements in all of this, I think. Ooh, does shade the Adepts, and now these last few units are exposed. As long as he Prism Micros correctly though, he should be able to keep those Immortals alive. And at the same time, he's obviously dealing a lot of damage with these Adepts. 12 workers down already. Then the Adepts can shade back to the army, and boom, the attack continues at the front with Roaches having been pulled away to the main. Such an abusable set of units, this. And it's working wonders for herO here in this game number 2. As he looks to even us out. No 3-0 this PvZ, as herO definitely has the numbers to push through to take us to at least a 1-1 scoreline. Last few moments from soO, I think, trying to hold on. His army supply is hurt, and another warping of Adepts to deal with. War Prism hasn't left itself vulnerable at any point of this either, so there's been no chance to corrosive pallet down. Hasn't even taken hits from Queens. Now it moves forwards a bit more aggressively, as does the rest of the army. And that's GG, as soO will grab game number 2 of this best of 5. And that's going to be herO taking. And to the bottom left, Our red Zerg player from ZvP Esports is soO. Up against the blue Protoss in the upper right, herO. soO versus herO. Pretty cool match here, honestly. herO again just showing us a very aggressive form of Protoss. I mean, super aggressive game 1, probably a super aggressive game 2. Well, it was a super aggressive game 2. I can only imagine a super aggressive game 3 as well. I mean, again, these guys playing some pretty aggro-focused games. But mostly, I mean, soO just defending against them, or trying to defend against them. Again, what's up, everyone in the chat? How are you all doing today? You're all wonderful for being here. Good to see so many of you. Again, we are bringing you guys as much StarCraft as we can this month. Tomorrow, more Masters Coliseum action. Wednesday, my day off, but Thursday is going to be the first Summer Championship qualifier for the Korean server. And Friday and Saturday, we'll be covering B stream as will be the B stream for WCS Summer. So look forward to all of that. Again, it should be a lot of fun. Should be really awesome. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys on the stream all week. Obviously, hit that follow button to see when we go live. If you really enjoy the stream, enjoying the content you want to support, do consider subscribing or donating, cheering. All of it helps go a long way. And of course, there is going to be a replay pack featuring these games going out today as well. So if you want to get your hands on these replays, be a subscriber or check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/WardiTV. Robotics facility being built up here. Fast again from herO, so kind of moving back towards a little bit of the setup we had in game number 1. We'll see if it'll be a similar kind of attack, or if there are maybe other plans at play. There's the Adept here from herO heading down to the bottom left-hand side. Queen is going to be able to turn that Adept away, so able to kind of push this back at the moment. We do see the couple of Lings going to be sneaking by into that natural expansion here. Sentry is on its way up. Just getting that rolling as again the couple of Adepts just shading through, trying to see what can be done. War Prism is on its way as well, so that War Prism going to be chrono boosting out here. It's going to be finished up in a second. Again, this Sentry herO just pushing the couple of Lings around. And quite a bit of damage done here to start things off. We do just have the other Zerglings of soO coming through the center of the map and chasing down those 2 Adepts. So, again, early Adepts not really achieving all too much, saved by the War Prism. I mean, as though the Lings can continue forwards here, Sentries will have force fields and probably will have to use them to protect themselves, although actually it's a nice tight little wall. But the Ling with the Scout in the main base really good, and obviously sees the Robo still chrono boosting after the War Prism as well, so you can be kind of, now we know where the chrono boost is going. Now soO probably gets a pretty good read on the fact that herO is probably again trying to be quite aggressive right now. 2 Adepts moving towards the 3rd base then, so starting to deal a little bit more damage over on this hatchery. Small Zergling's just going to be forcing those Adepts to cancel their shade. Drone goes down as well. And the Roach Roaring just starting to come up here on the natural. The Adept's going to shade again over to the bottom side here. What's up, Harry Blob? Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Do appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the content. To be an esports hero. Man, that Ling that's still in the main, by the way, comes back down. Full scout of the main and the natural again. Keeping that Ling alive in the corner up here. Big mistake by herO to mess that up. And herO's even kind of scouting the side. He's like, wait, is there more? What's going on? Such a huge scout for soO. Again, full information as to what's going on. Supply blocked, though. Not a good time to be supply blocked as he loses this Overlord. Well, I mean, that could actually put a bit of a spanner in the works here. herO around the top side, moving to set these Immortals up to press in towards the 3rd base. Queens. Some Lings are nearby as well. Here we go. They're going to start pressing forwards. The Immortal's going to lift up into the War Prism a couple times over right there. 22 Zerglings on the way out. A few Ravagers coming into play as well. all of this getting set up at the moment as the extra gateways come through. So pretty much just back to what we saw in that first game. The build that soO was able to hold off. Here not showing us any intentions of going up to free base. Not showing us any intentions of playing any sort of kind of longer game here. He wants these games to end early. He's kind of killing soO before soO can kill him, because we know that soO likes to play a very aggressive mid game as well. So he was just kind of saying, yeah, you know what? If I kill you before you can get set up to kill me, that's kind of how I want to play this game. Take your strength away from you. But again, so far I feel soO has been very good at identifying these builds, at responding to these builds, and minimizing the damage taken from them. Obviously in game number 2, the Adepts did a bit too much. I feel like maybe his drone count was a little bit off from where it needed to be there, but so far in this game number 3, herO is setting up in the same way as he did in game 1, and I think soO is very much so set up in the same way as well. Level finished, so you can get roach speed started after this attack if needed. He's even getting a couple of spines up on the way too, just to help that little bit of a buffer at times. Go a long way. That hallucinated Colossus obviously just trying to soak up some damage. So many force fields having to be used already, and honestly, the Ling is able to stream through those force fields really nice for soO. Already able to push herO back down this ram. Now is another round of Adept warp in. We see 10 more roaches in production here. I really feel like soO is already just shutting this down, because it doesn't feel like herO is making much progress at all as he tries to push forwards with this. Threatens the Adept shade up the ramp, which does give him a bit more of a forward position. So now a bit more of a choke point for him to force field. He kind of needed it as well, because his sentry energy is running low, so he didn't have many force fields left to use. Now he's force fielded the top side as well, and it feels as though this entire army, is just going to press through and clean this up. herO is trying to micro backwards. Still has the Immortals up and running. The Queen's surprisingly not on top of the Prism, just adding in damage wherever they can. Again, obviously soO's about to have some extra reinforcements. The Warp Prism has to be very careful. I think herO can't find a moment to warp in because he's afraid of the Warp Prism being targeted. It was targeted there for a moment by the Queens. There's no way you can warp in here, because then the Rav just bow down the Warp Prism, and the next thing you know, you've just lost your units. And was it worth the warp in? Well, now you can, because he gets off creep, but again, this is an extremely delayed warp in. Obviously that buys a lot of time, where soO was just trading that much better than maybe he should have been. Attempt to drop these stalkers for a moment. I thought he was going towards the main, but decides not to, and loads instead now back down to the low ground. Stalkers unloading once again to the side here. Looks like we will have a bit of a push setting up to move through in towards this natural once again. I mean, herO is just not letting this up. He'll keep this pressure going. soO, his army's still as good as it was last time. Now there's no force fields for him to worry about either, so he can just engage into this. He actually pulls the Lings back a little bit away from the Zealots. Just letting the Roaches and Rav just deal the damage. Obviously those Zealots are chargeless as well, so there's only so much they can do. Good micro on the Immortals, but even those are getting low now as well, so there's very little you can do before you have to already lift them up and pull them away. And that just takes away the amount of time they can be very comfortably just dealing damage here. And again, soO looks as though he's going to be able to push all the way through this. herO with really not much left at all. I mean, 2 Immortals will now jump into the main base, but again, very good defense here from soO. herO has a ton of money again, just I think missing warp-ins because he's afraid to set his Warp Prism into warp-in mode. I mean, he's going to save these 2 Immortals, but for what? One last attempt? Last ditch effort towards the natural expansion. He's just going to GG out anyways. He knows as well as we do that this is very drama. Ziggy calling out Starbuck. Aye, aye, aye. BM on the ladder. Okay. To the bottom right-hand side, our red Protoss player. He's been so persistently aggressive in this series. Is he going to keep that up? Is that going to be how he just plays this out? In the red, this is herO. And in the top left-hand side, our blue Zerg player from Chivo, this is soO. Albatross, my friend, how are you doing with the 43 months in a row? 33 R&Bs in a row, please. Okay, then. Aye, aye, aye. Thank you so much for the 43, Alba. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so very much. Okay, guys, so getting set up into this map 4 now. Very intrigued as to what our plan may be. I just kind of want to see a bit more of a macro game between these guys. Like, give me something that goes into Storm and just a bit different from this 2-base all-in we keep seeing, because, I mean, there's only so many 2-base all-ins I can cast until I'm like, come on guys, like, you know, what is this matchup become almost? Yay. Alright, so setting this up, getting this going. Couple queens on the way up, a few zerglings on the way in. Link speed is coming through here from soO, so getting that ready to go. And Twilight Council dropping into the main base, so there's a little bit of a change up from herO already, at least with a fast Twilight. Do we see that Robo as well for the Dark Shrine, or are we just talking about some kind of super aggressive Glaives all in again? Please no. Third hatchery drops down. Obviously, the winner of this, by the way, we haven't really talked about this much, but the winner of this will play soO in the semi-finals. So it could either be another ZvP, or, if soO is able to close it out, that ZvZ. soO actually played each other quite a lot recently, most recently in Home Story Cup, where soO prevailed 3-2 over soO. But I think soO prevailed over soO 2-1 in the GSL qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and these guys played a lot in the last, those guys played a lot last month or two. Not sure about herO and soO, though. Not sure when the last time those guys played were. It is a Dark Shrine, so we are going to be seeing this Archon drop opening off of the DTs. And down to soO to figure out a defense of this once again. So, I mean, at this time, I guess the Archon drop can obviously turn into a bit of an all-in as well, but like, at the same time, you don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be an all-in, right? It can definitely just be a lot more kind of just macro focus, you know, use those Archons as a bit of a harassment tool to then transition through. Very interested to see what comes out of this. There's a couple of Lings again, just patrolling out the front here. We're about halfway done at the moment from soO, which we're on about to complete as well. Prism heading back towards the upper left-hand side, and again these few Zerglings just on their way over here. A couple of Adepts drop down on the top, and the DTs will actually maybe even try and warp in on the third. Oh, soO, if he just knew about it, he's going to be a little too late with the Queens. There's his detection. Overseer starts to morph in. Maybe a little late. Queens don't have a transfuse available. Overseer's halfway done, and off to the left-hand side. Adepts in the natural at least get caught by those Lings, but that is a dead third hatchery. Wow. Man, he was so close as well to getting the Queens on top of the Prism as the DTs were warping in. It looks as though he almost knew it was over there, but just wasn't quite in location in time. What a snipe by herO. And soO is going to find himself down a base from where he should be in these early stages. Bunch more drones on the way up. Roach speed is starting as well in the natural expansion. And again, the two Archons heading out in towards the middle of the map here, so two Archons into the middle of the map. The Forge drops down the natural charge on the way on the Twilight Council as well. The Nexus going to drop on the third base. Mortal on the way up, Corona boosting out, and just going to be coming through here. So 2 Mortals, 2 Sentries, a Stalker. All of this gathering up together. Roach speed on the way in from soO as well in the naturals. We do have the Archons are back now. Again, we haven't really seen them harass much. Just those DTs able to get a lot done early in this game. I mean, killing a hatchery is absolutely huge, of course. Also going to get a couple of the Overlords as well. hero's harassment this game very, very potent and really achieving a lot as he goes into +1 attack and the charge. So again, more macro focus. We'll see. He could definitely push out with +1 and charge as well, though, right? Because it's that sort of stage of the game where you are just comfortable to move over and maybe get some damage done. At least maybe force units rather than more drones on the way. We see 4 more gates, and I think that's a pretty good sign of what is coming up at the moment. which is just going to be, again, picking away at these Archons, which I'm just looking for openings. I mean, there's so much mobility with the Warp Prism, of course, and these Archons are obviously very safe, because if they're ever truly in danger, the Warp Prism just lifts them up. The most danger you can get in is committing the Warp Prism too far in, the Queen's getting on top of it. Obviously, if you lose the Warp Prism, you're in trouble, but you just, I mean, stay at the edges of the bases, pay attention to it, and that doesn't really happen. Here is herO, pressing up to the top side of the map, and have a couple units warping in at the moment. Gonna send just a few zealots actually into the main base here, so splitting up his attack right away. So he's building a Nidus network right now, by the way. He never went past 45 drones, so he's actually been building units and units and units, but again, losing that third base early might just cost him here. As you see, Roaches and Ravagers get a pretty decent start to this engagement, but there is going to be a Prism in the main at the same time. Please get that Archon at least. Yes, he does. And a Prism in the main, well, now the units have to go and respond to this. The Zealots already picking up a few drones. Zealots lift up and bring themselves up through the top side. The facility dropping down on the third base there. There's the Nidus network into the main. So that's going to be soO's attempt to counterattack and get something done. Well, herO's on his way over with the army to help deal with this, so I'm not sure how successful this will be. The army is going to be able to come out, but in a straight-up fight, I'm not even sure how well soO is really set up to do right now. He's actually going to target down the Dark Shrine. Oh, well, actually, there's just no Overseer over here. Okay, sorry, there is an Overseer over here. It's just not quite in position right away. Nidus on the low ground gets denied, so it's an all-in attack on the top side in the main base. Going to be seeing this Archon morphing in from the DTs now. The Overseer's arrived. Just feels like soO isn't really doing enough. He's picking away at some key structures, don't get me wrong, but killing key structures isn't going to end this game if this army doesn't win out the fight. And at the moment, herO trading out pretty okay, I think. These mortals are really just going to kill so many of these Roaches, and I think that is the problem. As these Zealots charge in as well. You'll see the Roach Ravager push back towards the Nidus network, and it really just seems as though we're going to be having just a fifth game between the two of them. The Nidus goes down, so the units can't even escape, and soO loses his entire army. GG's. herO killing that third base early here in ALPH game number 4 is enough for this best of 5. Top right hand side, our blue Protoss player. It's herO. And the bottom left, our red Zerg soO. And thanks for tuning in today, guys. Appreciate you all dropping by, checking out the stream. This is going to be our last map of the day. I'll be back tomorrow with more StarCraft 2 for you all. From same time, 1:30 PM CEST, Central European Summer Time. And it'll be the semi-finals of the Masters Coliseum number 5. So this is it. Who will play against Solar in the semi-finals? Who will keep their Masters Coliseum hopes alive? Again, winning this series is a $250 boost. But then, it's $1,500 if you win your semi-final match, and $3,000 if you win the final. So a huge amount of money on the line overall. Okay, number 5. What are we feeling, guys? Who do you think's got this? Let me know in the chat if you're cheering on soO, if you're cheering on herO. As we get to this game 5, which of these players do you think is going to take it down? That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear from you all right now. Let's know if you're cheering on who you think has got this. I feel like soO's had such a mixed series. He's had some really good defense, but then, I mean, game 4 just loses that hat trick. Just things, Overseer detection, not on time. That's a hell of a way to lose the 4th game after, again, otherwise his defense looking so good before then. Turbo Cruise. It's another kind of shorter distance map to work with. So it is potential that herO just gets aggressive, pushes down through these inhibitor zones and tries to end the game early. He will have the early Adept coming across to try and pick up some damage here. And some damage, picking up some of those Zergling kills so far. Nothing too crazy. Adept is going to try and shade, but don't think it'll commit to anything. Queen Ling's going to come up to the top side and going to be able to defend against this attempt to adept into the main base. Good defense by soO, as herO is indeed pushed out here at the front. Immortal starts up, chrono boosting out again. I mean, it looks aggressive from the start with this fast robot facility. Ling's pressing forwards. Pylon is going to be able to set up the wall there, so it keeps those Lings out, of course, as soO starts to throw down the Rotron already, as getting set up into a response from this Stargate in the main. Double Stargate, actually, from herO. Ooh, so this is actually a real change up from what we've seen before. Oh, no! The Lings are going to scout it. Well, soO clicks on both of those, sees double Stargate, immediately knows what's happening. I almost wonder if we see herO just cancel and just change up his game plan, because, I mean, it's not too late, right? It's scouted so soon. Man. Well, this is herO definitely trying to change things up for this game number 5, but letting these Zerglings in, letting them get a scout like that, that's going to be extremely difficult to fight back from. More Prism coming through the center of the map. 5 probes died as well, so it's not just that scout, but it's already a lot of early damage dealt here by soO. He sets up another set of Lings around the side, this time the Zealot in the wall and on hold position. It's not going to be pulled out at all. This Ling is going to pick away at the Cybernetics Core, actually. It's kind of exposed. The ranged units are all across the map. A couple of sentries showing up now. Sentries are good enough, though, because obviously they can drop a force field if needed to stop the Lings from attacking, so it's smart from soO just to back away. No reason to try and kill something he's not going to get. But yeah, just kind of, you know, apply a bit of pressure, and, you know, he's just testing the waters here more than anything. Testing to see how ready herO is to deal with things. herO, by the way, 33 probes, did cancel the Stargate, so he didn't go into that Stargate production. Instead, he's going to turn it around into a bit of an Immortal all-in. Now maybe soO gets caught a bit off guard, because there's lair building up in the main base. And we've seen a lot of drones from him. I mean, he's got up to 55 workers against a 33 probe all-in. So as herO comes across the map, soO, I really already fear, is maybe in just too much trouble. Oh my god, here we go. A few more Adepts warping in right away from herO. Lings do get the Cyber Core. Ooh, that's actually interesting, because obviously going for Adepts here. Now he's going to be forced to warp in only Zealots as a reinforcement. There's a couple of force fields coming down. soO does not have a lot initially to deal with this. As Lings do come back home from across the map, the Immortal barriers have been popped as well. Good first corrosive battle, lands on an Immortal too. I think that Warp Prism is going to be key here. Can he get that snipe down, soO, or is the Warp Prism just going to survive? It pulls back a little bit, and I think the Warp Prism is probably going to be okay. Although herO's units are actually kind of falling down a bit now. There's a few Zealots that were off to the top side. They need to be here to try and protect these Immortals as much as possible. There is the Warp Prism going into warping mode. We'll start the warping. soO will not find the opportunity to throw down the corrosive vials. Not just yet, at least. So herO still pressing forwards here. The other Zealots pressing through too. Warp Prism coming back around, and again, just going to be seeing those drones coming in. 6 drones killed so far. The Zealots continue to try and get a lot more done. Actually getting a lot of drone kills. Obviously soO can kind of afford some losses here, because he's obviously been on a higher drone count than usual. So if he can survive, then that's okay, but obviously he is still struggling to survive here. These Ravagers have to kite up to the high ground. Urchin and Queen on the low ground, all that stuff. That Warp Prism is so low at the moment. The Queen will go down, though, so no target fire available. But maybe the corrosive bowels. I think that's going to be a kill on the Prism, but the warping goes off. However, the Immortals are low, so the Immortals... Oh my god, Barry had to save it for a moment. He's just going to be able to get rid of this Immortal, so that's finally down. And now against slow Zealots, he can kind of kite away for a little while here. And soO looks as though he will hold this first wave of the attack. And herO will have to go back to the drawing board for a second wave, perhaps, because for the moment, soO will hold on. herO now builds his Cybernetics Core once again, building another Immortal. Probably, I mean, just 2 Immortals, a Warp Prism, and just go and try and end this a second time around. And more Zerglings on the way from soO. 47 drones. He's slowly actually rebuilding that number as well. Going to go above 50 in a moment. herO added a few probes on. Looks like he just went to full saturation across the two bases. Without gases on the natural. Again, the lack of gases means he's not transitioning. So he is absolutely just looking for another round of this here. 2 more sentries warping in. The Overseers hanging out up in the skies. 10 more roaches in production. Sentries are going to be able to pick off that Overseer, so nice pickup there. Nice contaminate, actually, just straight up on the Warp Prism. That's going to slow down the next attempt from herO to end this game. Give soO even longer to make use of those 51 drones now. I feel herO really wanted to play something different this game, but soO's scout kind of almost forced him back into the same style. soO was actually caught off guard by this as well, I feel. Warp Prism picks up the 2 Immortals and going to come down to the bottom side. The Lings for soO coming out over to the right. Twilight Cancel and the Forge on the way up. Second's going to come in, able to cancel that Nexus. Nexus again going to be built once more. And Immortals dropping around here, dropping around there, just trying to do something ahead of... Well, he's actually trying to take a 3rd Nexus, but only just taking these gases. That was so late. It's going to mean he doesn't have a lot to defend with. soO coming in from a couple of different angles, already getting past these inhibitor zones. Wow, only 1 Immortal in this army. Has me a little bit worried. Corrosive Power is going to pop down the force fields. The sentries are limited in energy as well. There's not an endless amount of them, so I don't know what you're even achieving with these first few force fields. It's barely even keeping the army away. Army can also push through into the natural expansion. It looks as though herO is not really going to have the numbers to deal with this at all. soO is just going to push on through, and it looks like soO will be going to the semi-finals to play against Solar here. herO types out GG, and soO will advance to the semi-finals to play against Solar.